Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time you truly changed something in your life on purpose? Not because you had to, but because you decided to. We all have goals, dreams, that next level we see in our minds. But here's the truth most people don't like to hear. Nothing in your life is going to magically change unless you do. No new opportunities, no sudden breakthroughs, no transformation, unless it starts from within. It's easy to point fingers at circumstances, other people, or bad luck, but to mirror, that's where the real story begins. Today I want to share with you a truth that changed my life, a truth that has the power to shift yours too. Nothing changes if you don't. Let's dive in. We become what we think about most. The most powerful force shaping your life is not your circumstances, not your upbringing, not your resources. It's your thoughts. What you allow to dominate your mind eventually becomes your reality. This truth is often underestimated because thinking feels invisible. It's quiet. No one sees it. But over time, your dominant thoughts seep into your actions, your habits, and ultimately your outcome. Think about it. Every achievement began as a thought. Every business, every relationship, every work of art, every breakthrough, it all started in someone's mind before it became real. And the same principle applies on a personal level. If you constantly think about progress, you'll start to move. If you think about health, you'll begin to choose differently. But if you consistently think about fear, lack, or failure, that's the direction your life will follow too. The mind doesn't argue with you. It simply accepts what you consistently feed it. If you wake up every day believing that you're stuck, that you're unlucky, or that nothing good ever happens to you, your brain will start to filter the world through that lens. It will find evidence to support those thoughts. And when it does, those thoughts begin to solidify into beliefs. Over time, beliefs shape behavior, and behavior shapes your results. This is why change doesn't start with action. It starts with awareness. Becoming aware of what you regularly think about is the first step toward changing your life. Take a moment and reflect. What thoughts do you entertain the most? What mental movie plays on repeat in your head? Is it one where you're stuck and frustrated, or one where you're growing and becoming? If you're not happy with what your life looks like right now, there's a high chance that your most common thoughts are not aligned with the future you want. That may sound uncomfortable, but it's actually good news, because it means you're not powerless. You don't have to wait for luck or hope for some miracle. You can change the channel in your mind. You can decide today to think differently. Start small. Begin thinking more intentionally. If you want to be more confident, feed your mind thoughts that reflect that. If you want to grow financially, start thinking about abundance, opportunity, and learning, not about lack or fear. It's not about pretending or ignoring reality. It's about choosing to focus on what you can become instead of being stuck in where you are. You may not see results instantly, and that's okay. Just like planting seeds, your thoughts need time to take root and grow. But the more you nurture them, the stronger they become. Over time, your thoughts will begin to affect your decisions. You'll walk differently. You'll speak differently. You'll start noticing opportunities that were always there but hidden behind a mental fog of doubt or fear. The amazing thing is, this isn't magic. It's discipline. It's being intentional about what you let live in your mind. Your thoughts are either working for you or working against you, and you get to choose which. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. No one else has that responsibility. And once you accept that, everything starts to change. Now, that doesn't mean you'll never have a negative thought again. You're human. Doubt, fear, worry, they show up for everyone. The difference is whether you allow those thoughts to stay and build a home in your head. You don't have to fight every negative thought, but you also don't have to entertain them. Let them pass like clouds in the sky, and then gently guide your mind back to where you want to go. This process becomes even more powerful when you surround yourself with better inputs, books, mentors, conversations, environments that reinforce the kind of thinking you want to live in. When you feed your mind with positivity, strategy, and inspiration, you strengthen the roots of those better thoughts. It becomes easier, more natural to think in a way that lifts you up rather than drags you down. And here's the beautiful truth. The more you think about something, the more likely you are to take action on it. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to decisions, and decisions lead to outcomes. If you think about growth, you will eventually grow. If you think about discipline, you will start making disciplined choices. If you think about success, not in a shallow material sense, but as personal alignment and purpose, you will start to walk in that direction. So if nothing changes until you do, and change begins with your thoughts, then the greatest leverage you have in life is the power to guide your mind. What you think about is shaping who you are becoming. Your future isn't written in stone. It's being written in your thoughts today. Choose them wisely. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success is often misunderstood. Too many people define it by appearance, wealth, status, or how many followers they have. But real success isn't found in a snapshot. It's found in the journey. True success is the steady, intentional movement toward a goal that matters deeply to you. It's not about where you are today. It's about the direction you're heading and the commitment you bring with you. You don't need to have made it to be successful. You just need to be moving genuinely, purposefully, towards something that has value to you. That could be building a business, raising a strong family, pursuing an education, learning a new skill, or creating art. What matters is that it's worthy, something meaningful, something that makes you better and brings out the best in you. This understanding changes everything. It takes the pressure off needing to have everything figured out or looking successful from the outside. It gives you permission to define success on your own terms, not according to someone else's scoreboard. And more importantly, it reminds you that progress is success. If you're showing up every day, even in small ways, you're already succeeding. The key is consistency. One step a day doesn't look like much until you look back after a month, a year, or 5 years. That's when you start to see the path you've built. That's when others look at you and think, wow, they're successful. But the truth is, your success didn't begin when they noticed. It began when you started, quietly, privately, with a decision to pursue something worthwhile. There will be days when the progress feels slow or invisible. You might question if you're on the right path, but if your goal is truly meaningful, if it's anchored in purpose and growth, then staying the course is winning. You don't need outside validation to prove you're successful. Just ask yourself, am I further along than I was yesterday? Am I learning? Am I still moving? When you view success as a journey, you become more resilient. You stop chasing quick wins or comparing yourself to others. Instead, you focus on your path, your growth, your mission. And ironically, when you do that, the external rewards start to show up too. But they're no longer the main focus. They're just reflections of the inner progress you've already made. One of the most empowering shifts you can make is realizing that you don't need to be perfect to be proud. You don't need to be finished to be fulfilled. If you're pursuing something worthwhile and you're progressing, even if it's slow, even if it's messy, you are successful. Don't wait for a milestone to believe that. Live it now. Walk like it. Think like it. Own it. This mindset doesn't just change how you define success. It changes how you live. You become more focused, more patient, more motivated. You stop chasing applause and start chasing purpose. And in the process, you grow into the kind of person who naturally attracts the opportunities and results you once thought were far away. So remember this, success isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a direction you choose every day. If you're moving forward aligned with something meaningful, then you are already living in success. Keep going. Don't wait for conditions to be perfect. One of the biggest traps people fall into is waiting for the right time. the perfect moment, the ideal conditions. But the truth is, that moment you're waiting for, it rarely, if ever, comes. Life is rarely convenient, and success never sends an invitation in advance. If you're holding off on your dreams because you're waiting for everything to line up just right, you may be waiting forever. Perfection is an illusion. It's often just fear in disguise, fear of failing, fear of looking foolish, fear of not being ready. And while you're busy perfecting your plan, time is passing, opportunities are slipping by, the person you could become is being delayed, all because you convinced yourself it's not the right moment to begin. Here's the reality. Conditions don't create momentum. Action does. Starting where you are, with what you have, is the only path forward. The people you admire, the ones who built something meaningful, they didn't wait for the weather to be just right. They got up, they showed up, and they made progress in spite of the obstacles. Often they started when things were uncertain, when the odds were against them, and it was that very decision to begin, despite the imperfections, that made all the difference. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need the courage to take the first step, and then the next. Every action creates clarity. Every small win builds confidence. You'll learn faster by doing than by sitting on the sidelines trying to plan every move, because real growth doesn't come from theory. It comes from experience. And experience only happens when you take action. It's also important to remember that waiting for perfection can quietly become a habit. You wait once, then again, and before you know it, you've talked yourself out of more opportunities than you can count. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and the life you dreamed of becomes a memory of what could have been. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can choose differently. You can start now. What you do today, even if it's small or messy or uncertain, is better than the perfect thing you never do. Start with what you've got. Speak even if your voice shakes. Launch even if it's not flawless. You'll improve as you go. You'll adapt. You'll gain strength, skill, and perspective. But none of that is possible if you're stuck waiting at the starting line. It takes courage to move in the middle of uncertainty. It takes belief to bet on yourself when there are no guarantees. But that's what separates people who build something from people who only dream. Not talent, not luck, action. The truth is, conditions will never be perfect. Life will always be a little inconvenient, a little unpredictable. There will always be a reason to wait if you're looking for one, but there will also always be a reason to begin if you decide to look for that instead. You see, so don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait until you feel 100% ready, because chances are you won't, and that's okay. Start anyway. Take the leap. Trust the process. You'll figure it out on the way. Progress is waiting on the other side of action, not perfection. Responsibility is empowerment. One of the most freeing and powerful things you can ever do is take full responsibility for your life. Not partial responsibility, not when it's convenient responsibility, but complete, unapologetic ownership of your choices, your mindset, your actions, and your direction. It's easy to blame, to point at circumstances, other people, or the past, and while blame might feel satisfying in the moment, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't move you forward. If anything, it keeps you stuck, because when you give away responsibility, you also give away your power to change. But when you decide to own your story, flaws, mistakes, setbacks, and all, you take the wheel. You're no longer waiting for someone else to fix it, apologize, or save you. You stop living in reaction and start living in intention. That shift is everything. It turns you from a passenger into the driver of your own life. Responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for things beyond your control. It means responding to whatever life gives you with strength and purpose. You might not choose every challenge, but you do choose your response. And in that response is the key to your growth. Every time you rise instead of retreat, you build resilience. Every time you learn instead of complain, you gain wisdom. It's not always easy. Taking responsibility means facing hard truths. It means acknowledging where you've held yourself back, where you've settled, and where you've let fear make your decisions. But it also means you're not a victim of your story. You're the author. You can change the plot at any time. The world responds differently to people who take ownership. They walk with more confidence. They speak with more clarity. They inspire trust. Why? Because they're not waiting on the world to change. They're changing themselves. They take action. They lead themselves, and eventually they lead others too. When you live with responsibility, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do with this?" That question alone opens doors that blame will never unlock. It shifts your focus from problems to solutions, from excuses to possibilities. So, if you're serious about growth, about change, about building a life that reflects your potential, it starts here with ownership. Own your time. Own your energy. Own your mindset. Own your outcomes, because no matter where you've been, you have the power to choose where you go next. And that power begins with responsibility. Your life is a reflection of your choices. At any moment, your life is the result of countless choices you've made, some big, many small, but all significant in their own way. This can be a tough truth to face, but it's also incredibly empowering. Because if your life reflects your past choices, then your future will reflect the ones you start making today. We often underestimate how much control we actually have. It's tempting to believe that life is happening to us, that external forces are calling the shots, but more often than not, it's our daily decisions, the ones we think don't matter, that slowly shape the life we're living. What time you wake up, how you talk to yourself, whether you keep a promise to yourself or break it. These aren't just habits. They're building blocks of your reality. The life you're living right now didn't arrive overnight. It was formed step by step, decision by decision. And that means the power to change it doesn't lie in some future event or some massive breakthrough. It lies in your next decision. Will you move toward growth, or will you stay where it's comfortable? Will you take responsibility or pass it off? Will you show up for yourself or keep waiting for the right time? There's no perfect path. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has regrets. But progress doesn't come from getting every choice right. It comes from being aware of your choices and choosing better one moment at a time. When you stop running on autopilot and start acting with intention, life begins to change. Slowly, yes, but surely. One of the most freeing realizations is this: you can't control everything, but you can control how you respond. You can control your attitude, your effort, your focus. You can decide what you consume, who you surround yourself with, and what you work toward. These are your tools, your power, and every time you use them well, life reflects it back. Some people wait years for things to change, not realizing that the change they're hoping for is waiting on them, waiting on a shift in discipline, in mindset, in commitment. It doesn't always take a massive life overhaul. Sometimes it just takes a few consistent, intentional choices made daily to start creating a ripple effect in every area of your life. If you want your life to look different 6 months or a year from now, look at your choices today. Are they in alignment with the person you want to become? Are they leading you closer to the life you say you want? If not, that's your signal, not to feel guilty, but to get intentional, to realign, to choose better. Every choice matters, and every choice adds up. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be aware. With every decision, ask yourself, is this building the life I want? If the answer is no, then you've just been given a gift, a chance to choose again, a chance to pivot, a chance to lead yourself. Your life is not just happening, it's unfolding based on what you say yes to, what you say no to, and what you choose to prioritize. That's not pressure, that's power. Use it well.